Juana. Oh, there we go. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Math 30-2, Period 2. I'm Mrs. Lepp. Wouldn't that be hilarious? And this is going to be a great day. All right? Good times. I feel like I'm a flight attendant. If you look straight to the back, you will find the redheads. If you look to the right and to the left, you will find windows and an exit. Do not exit out the window because you will have to jump. Exit out the door, directly down the stairs, and then to the right, you will be outside and you will be safe. Okay, good times. All right, anyways, that's not how we roll. So they can give you the formula on the top of the formula sheet. If they give it to you on the diploma, though, they won't have the little CPs. So you'll have to remember the CPs. So rather than trying to remember the CPs, I just say memorize the formula and use the ones you know when you see this type of question. Okay? We're going to go through what these things stand for. So at the very top, I have the formula written for you. You see it up there? Okay. A stands for your accumulated amount. We're just going to call it final amount. They use A for accumulated amount. It doesn't matter. Just know that whatever's on the left-hand side of the equal sign in all of these formulas is your final amount. Okay? It doesn't change. Whatever's after it, here, the P, it's called the principal value. That's why they use P, but it's just your initial amount. So they could use whatever variable they wanted. Just know that whatever's on the left-hand side of the equal sign is your final. What comes right after it is your initial. People are like, what is this symbol, Mrs. Lepp? What for art is this? It's a 1. It's not a symbol. It's the number 1. Don't try and fill it in. It is a 1. You will call me over on the test. It's a 1, okay? It's not a variable. Good times. I is the interest rate in decimal form. So if I say it's 7%, you will go 7 divided by 100, and you will use 0.07 because it's the decimal form. CP, we'll deal with in a second, actually. N is the number of years. N is the number of years. So if I need months, I'll just take my answer and times it by 12. Okay? And then CP stands for compounding periods. What the heck is that? Well, we'll go through it. Compounding periods. Okay. So when you go and you invest money in a bank account, or you get a mortgage, your interest compounds. What the heck does that mean? So if it says compounds monthly, at the end of every month, it will take the interest that you, say it's an investment, you put money in. At the end of the month, it'll take the interest that you earned at the end of that month, because it's compounding monthly. It'll take the interest and it will put in with the money you invested. Now the next month, you're actually earning money off of the money you invested and the interest. And then at the end of that month, it'll compound again, and you'll make interest off of your interest and your investment, and it'll put it in, and you'll be making more money, right? Because now you're making money off of your interest every single month. With a mortgage, you don't want it to compound quickly. So mortgages can max compound semi-annually, which is twice a year. You don't want them to compound more, because what do they do at the end of the 6 months? Whatever you haven't paid off, they take the interest from that and they put it into your lump sum of what you still owe, and now you're gonna paying money off of what you owe plus the interest. Okay? For example, this is always just of interest. Funny, of interest. So interestingly to you, a mortgage rate right now is about 2.8%, which is extremely low. When I had my first mortgage, it was in 2006, many moons ago. And my interest rate was stupid high. It was, I think it was 5.75, which you're like, that's low interest rate. 5.75 at the end of my, so I owned a house in the hood of Okotoks. I call it the hood, in the forest lawn of Okotoks. Is that what you just said? Forest Lawn's really actually an up-and-coming neighborhood in Calgary now. Thank you. Let's not take it down. But no, it's not. It's great. So there also is no hood in Okotoks, just so you know. I just wanted to jokingly call it that.
It's actually North Railway Street. Don't go down there. It's sketchy.
Okay, I don't think there's actually a hood. That's a library. Anyways, the library is not sketchy. Okay, good times. Sorry for whoever's listening to this recording, but the house I bought was a townhouse. I bought a townhouse. Ahem. Ahem. Thank you. And it was for $206,000. It was a sweet deal. It's good times. And my little townhouse at the end of 25 years with its little 5.75% interest rate would have cost me over $400,000. Aren't mortgages awesome? Yeah, great. So right now with a 2.8% interest rate, it's actually a really, really good interest rate. You can pay your mortgages down substantially, but even like a 5% mortgage rate to a 6, you're going crazy. Now, mortgages also have interest. I know I have nothing to do with this, but they're interesting, and I want to set you up for not disaster when you get a mortgage. Mortgages, you will take out over 25 years, but you can only lock a mortgage rate for 5 to 10 of those 25. So at the end of your 5 to 10 years, you will reevaluate it and hope that your mortgage rate isn't crazy high. So in the 80s, when my parents actually owned a house, everyone was buying houses, and you usually get your mortgage rate so you can afford it, correct? And you're hoping that it doesn't go up substantially. Their mortgage rates in the 80s was 18%. So they bought a house, and then they had to redo their mortgage in 5 years, and it was at 18%. Some people just walked away from their homes because their payments over doubled from what they were before. So it was kind of crazy. So live with your parents for life. That's the end of the story. You're welcome. Okay. Sorry, parents, for giving you that. Okay, so compounding periods, back to that. At the end, if it's monthly, you will compound at the end of the month. The interest rate will go in. If it's semi-annually, it's twice. If it's quarterly, how many quarters are there in a dollar? 4. It's 4. So compounding periods, if it says your CP is going to be 2, if it says semi-annually. Your CP will be 12 if it says monthly. Your CP will be 4 if it says quarterly. Okay? Good times. So how do we know we need to use this formula? Well, the question will have the word compounded in it. If you see that, you highlight it, you use this formula. Done and done. Like life is good. Okay? So 2 for CP if it's semi-annually, 12 if it says monthly, 4 if it says quarterly. If you don't have a highlighter, I would get one or borrow one of my lovely markers or use your pen and underline. I don't really care what you do, but it's a word problem, so highlighters are important. So we're going to use them. All right. So it says, Christine invested $2,500, that's important, for 4 years, compounded semi-annually, so I know I have to use this formula because there's the word compounded in it, and received $843.26 in interest, so that's how much she made on it, right? They're asking us to find the annual rate of interest. And look at this. It has a rounding rule. We should probably do what it says, not just round to what our heart feels, which is what you guys do on the test. So we don't want to keep doing that. Okay. So many things. So the 2,500 is the what in the formula? So there's initial and there's final. Initial is I walked into the bank. It sounds like a joke. A person walked into a bank and they had $2,500. They initially walked into the bank with that. We agree? Yes. So that would be our initial. So you could label it as P. You could say it's initial, whatever you want. 2,500. Remember, whenever you're solving, you can only be missing one variable of a formula, right? You're taught that since little. Same thing here, since you're little. For 4 years, what's that? Your N. Your N is the number of years. Compounded semi-annually. So CP is 2. Now this is the little catch. She received $843.26 in interest. Now, A is your final amount. So that's like, hey, I walked into the bank. I walked into the bank with $2,500. That would be by A, or by P. And then my final amount, I walk out of the bank with blah dollars. Okay? So some people will tell me, I walk out of the bank with $843. Get a new banker. Because you walked in with $2,500 and you are walking out with $843. Your bank sucks. Just saying. So your final amount should be bigger than your initial if the interest rate is increasing. We agree? So what would my final amount actually be? $3,343.26. What did you do? Yeah. You took what you went into the bank with, which was $2,500. You added the interest you made, which was $843.26, and you're walking out of the bank with $3,343.26, right? So think about it. Initial is what you walk in with. Final is what you're walking out with. If you're walking out with less than you went in with, you have made less money and your investment sucks. Try again, okay? So we have to watch ourselves. So let's fill in what we do know. Oh, the only thing we're missing is what? Little I. We don't know what that is, the interest rate in decimal form. So let's fill in what we do know. We know our final amount is $3,343.26, and it equals $2,500. And then we have 1 plus the interest rate divided by 2 to the 4 times 2, because they're multiplied. So the very first thing I do if I have a final and an initial amount is I divide that initial over. So I'm going to divide by 2,500. I'm not going to reduce it. I'm just going to leave it there. So now I have 3,343.26 divided by 2,500 equals 1 plus I divided by 2 to the 8. How do we solve this now, guys? We need to get the 1 plus I divided by 2 by itself. How do I get rid of the power of an 8? 8th root it, right? Okay, let's see if we can figure out where we're headed first. So at this point, if it doesn't say algebraically, I can y1, y2. So let's try that out first so we can see where we're headed. But we are going to solve these all algebraically as well. So at this point, once we move the initial over, we can type it into our calculator. y1, y2. So let's try that first. So my y1, I have 3,343.26 divided by 2,500. And then here I have 1 plus alpha y equals. If you don't have the fraction button, what do you have to do? Put every fraction in what? Brackets always, or your calculator doesn't know it's a bracket. I divided by 2 to the 8. So if you have the calculator that doesn't have these options, when you're typing in y2, you're going to type it in as, awesome, it's something. Alpha y equals enter. So if you don't have the new calculator, you're going to type this y2 in as bracket 1 plus x divided by 2 bracket to the power of 8. So I have to make sure I put the whole thing in brackets so the whole thing is to the power of 8, correct? So if the old calculators, you're going to have to type it in like that. Everyone good? Now go zoom 6 because I don't know what the heck window you're at right now. So we have two places where it intersects. What are we looking for currently? The little I. And what's the little I? Interest rate. Does it make sense to have a negative interest rate when it's growing? No. So this would be an extraneous answer. So we're going to try and find this one. So we're going to go second, trace 5, because we always find intersections. And we need to be over here near this one. If we're over near the other one, it's going to find it. We go enter, enter, enter. So we always take the X answer, correct? And if they asked us what we were doing to do this, we'd say we go second trace 5, enter, 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 and then our solution is the value of X, correct? Because if I just say second trace 5, math, enter, enter, and then I have my answer, you actually have two answers. Which one is it? Remember, if I can say who, what, when, where, how when you're answering things, you have not answered it fully. So it's going to be 0.074. So that's where we're headed. I equals 0.074. So at least I know that's where I need to get to. And it says nearest whole number, so we're going to actually turn it to a percent, but that's okay. We'll deal with that in a second. So what's it going to actually be? 7% in the end, correct? This is nearest whole number. So if I want to solve this algebraically, I need to get rid of the 8 first. So I'm going to 8th root it. So I'm just going to literally write that. I'm not actually going to get the answer right now. I'm just going to write the 8th root of this. Then those cancel. Now I have the 8th root of this lovely fraction divided by 2,500 equals 1 plus I divided by 2. What's my next step to get I by itself? Subtract the 1. The 2 is attached to it. Anything that's attached to the variable I can only touch when everything else is gone. So I have to subtract 1 first. So now I have the 8th root of this lovely fraction. And why am I not just taking a rounded decimal approach in the middle of this? When am I allowed to round? The very end, and I'm not there yet. And now I have I divided by 2. How do I get rid of that division of 2? Times both sides by 2. So everyone practice typing it in. See if you get 0.007400. You should get the same answer, right? So everyone practice typing it in. So I'm going to go to bracket 8 math. 8 math number 5 gets you the 8th root. I like the new calculators because I can make it look exactly like it is. Oh, 3.4, 3.26. So if you're someone who typed it like me wrong, say you put in 3353 and you meant 3343, you don't have to retype the whole thing. Just go up here and steal it. There you go. Now it actually matches. Oh, and the answer to this should have been 7%. Is nearest whole number. All right. Now, Barbara invests. Little Barbara. Love her. She's a great time. Good fun. Oh, wait, I want blue. Barbara invests $8,000 in an account which pays compound. Must use the compound formula because there's the word compound in it. Great times. At 6% per annum. That just means per year. It will always be like that. Paying attention, they may write it like this. 6% per A. They sometimes write it that way. That just means per annum, per year. It's never not per annum or per year. Yes. No. Okay. Compounded monthly. how long would it take to the nearest whole year, how long, for the investment to double? Okay, so let's go through and figure out what we have. We know we need an A. We need a P. We need a little I of some sort. We need an N. We need a CP. And we can only be missing one. If we're missing more than one, we must go back, read more thoroughly, because we can only be missing one thing. You'll be okay, I promise. All right, so invest 8,000. Is that the initial investment, or is that what they're walking out with? The initial. So it's your P, which pays compound interest at 6%. So what's that? 0.06, and it goes in for I. Before you mess up your percents, because you don't know how to change it to a decimal, don't be that person who literally just doesn't go divide by 100. Just go divide by 100 and then take the decimal, rather than you write 0.6, which happens all the time. Okay? I would rather you just go divide by 100. You paid lots of money for those calculators. Get your use, you know? Try it out. All right. Compounded monthly. What's your CP? 12. How long? Oh, they're making us find N. If they're making us find N, they had to have given us the final somehow. For the investment to double. What was it originally? So now it's going to be? Yes. So let's fill it in. So we go 16,000 equals 8,000. Bracket 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12 to the 12n. So the first thing I always tell you to do is divide that initial over. So we're going to divide by 8,000. Now, because the 16,000 and the 8,000 divided give a nice number, don't keep 16,000 divided by 8,000. Like if they turn into 2 or a half or something nice, just use that number. Don't use these, okay? So 16,000 divided by 8,000 is 2 equals, and then 0.06 divided by 12 plus 1, what's that? $1.005, so that's what I'm going to put in. To the 12n. Hey, why did we learn logs and exponentials before doing these? At this point, I could y1, y2, could I not? Yep, we will at the end, we'll check it. But what have we learned we can do when we have one exponent? Convert it to a log. So we have y a x. So we're going to get x, so 12n equals log base a. A is 1.005, and then a 2 beside. Where do I get that from? The formula sheet, right? We're just converting like we've been doing for the last 4 days. The conversion's on the formula sheet. And then we need to get n by itself, so we're going to do what? Divide by 12. And you're going to type it into your calculators. So I'm going to go math, log base. I'll do it both ways just to make sure, just in case you have the other calculator. 1.005. What was here? Was it a 2? And then I divide by 12. So that's one way. If I have the other calculator, I'm going to have to go log 2 divided by log 1.005, because that's the only way you can type it in. Enter, divided by 12. So what unit is this in? Years. And it says to the nearest whole year. So that would be 12. Even if it was like 11.1, it would still take me 12 for it to double if I had to go to a whole year. Because if it was 11.1 years and I rounded to 11, would it have doubled? No. So I always have to round up. So it's going to be 12 years. Now, n equals 12 years. Now we could check it. We could y1, y2 right here and right here. But we're going to have to make sure our x max is at least 12, right? Now, change in pace. I asked for years, but what if I would have asked for the number of compounding periods? How many times it compounds? How many times does it compound per year? 12, because it said monthly, right? So do I just take 12 times 12 and get 144? That's early rounding, isn't it? When am I allowed to round? In the very last step, correct? So I can't take 12 and multiply it by 12. I have to take my answer that they gave me and multiply that by the 12 compounding periods per year. And that's actually 139 compounding periods, not 144, right? Makes a difference. So we're only allowed to round in the end. So if they ask for compounding periods, we have to take what our answer is and times it by how many times it compounds per year. Then round. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. You guys try 3 and 4, and then we're going to go through them. Number 3 and 4. So your initial is 3,000. I got ahead of myself. Your initial is 3,000. Your final is 3,000 plus 600 interest, so 3,600. Your interest rate in decimal form is 12% divided by 100, so 0.12. And CP is monthly, which is 12. And your N is going to be number of years, always. So if you want months, you have to take it and times it by 12. So we get 3,600 equals 3,000 times 1 plus 0.12 divided by 12 to the 12n. The first thing we do is divide by the initial. And you can keep that really large number, or you can reduce it to 6 over 5. And then you go 0.12 times or divide by 12 is 0.12 divide 0.12 divided by 12. 0. You guys, it's just 12 divided by 12.
1.
Well, 0.01 because there's a decimal. That's division. 1.01 to the 12n, and then we convert it. Y, A, X, 12n equals log base 1.01, 6 over 5, and then I just divide by 12. .01, 6 divided by 5, enter divided by, what was it, 12? I have short-term memory loss. Okay, so 1.52693,044 is in what? Years. So I don't round that to 2 and then times by 12, because then I'm rounding before my answer, right? They want months. So I'm going to take my years and I'm going to times it by 12. And I get 18.3. And a whole bunch of people will tell me 18. But it says make at least 600, correct? So if I stop at 18 months, will I make at least 600? No. So I need to go to 19. And then the last one, George invests 2,500, so that's the P, into an account which pays compound interest. So we know we have to use this formula because there's the word compound in it. at 8.1%. So divide that by 100 and I get 0.081 is my interest rate. Compounded quarterly, so my CP is 4. How many years to the nearest whole number will it take George's investment to at least double in value? It has to at least double. So no matter what answer you get, you're going to have to round up. So it was 2,500. So my accumulated amount is going to be double that. So 5,000. And I want N. Try it out. So we're going to get 5,000 equals 2,500. 1 plus divided by 4. Okay, quiet please. Divide by 2,500. And we get 2 equals 0.081 divided by 4, which is 0.02025. Remember that. And then you add the 1 to it, and then you get 4n. And now it's in a form we can convert. Y, A, X. So we get 4n equals log base 1.02025 with a 2. And then divide by 4. What's my n always in? Years. So if I wanted it in anything else, I'm going to have to multiply, correct? Because my n will always be in years. And it wants the nearest whole year because it says compounded quarterly. So I'm going to go. No, quarterly is 4. You have to put in a 4. So we're going to get log base 1.02025. What was beside it? A 2 divided by 4. So 9 years, 8.6. And we have to round up because it says at least double. So even if it was 8.1, we'd have to round to 9, right?